Alright, this is the last video of the day. Wrestling discussion. This is what I want to talk about is, WWE Raw permanently going off for 3 hours long. This is one of the biggest things, along with TNA going live in the summer, but I'll make that a separate video during the weekend. But Raw going on for 3 hours, it's like one of the biggest things going on in the wrestling world right now, permanently, that is. July 23rd, USA Network had announced that Raw's going on for 3 hours, permanently. Now, I know in times past, I remember, well, not in times past, but like a few years ago, Vince McMahon had made statements that he would never want Raw to go on for 3 hours long. And since it was announced that Raw was going to go on permanently be 3 hours from starting July 23rd up until who knows or however when, a lot of people started to have some concerns and started to compare, already saying that this is going to be a failure, like WWE, like WCW, like how WCW were years ago when they went, for 3 hours and they had a deep stacked roster, but yet they flopped up and were, just a crappy company going down the drain still, even though they were going live for 3 hours and had an in-depth roster. Now I'm going to give my thoughts on this. Now I can understand some people's concern about this, concerning, like I said, with the WCW going on for 3 hours and they failed still. And then also, if you're a wrestling fan who just watches all kinds of wrestling, you have a 3 hour Raw. If you watch TNA, like I said, just because you're a wrestling fan, you watch everything. You have TNA Thursdays, that's for 2 hours. And then SmackDown, you have for 2 hours. Or if you're just a WWE person, you still have 3 hour Raw, 2 hour SmackDown. That's 5 hours of wrestling a week if you're just a straight WWE fan. How do I feel about Raw being on for 3 hours? I kind of see it being both good and bad, both ways. I'll start with I guess you could say maybe the positive. Maybe the positive thing with this is some wrestlers can get some more time. We can get longer wrestling matches. Maybe with this extra hour, some of the stars that are up and coming from FCW, like Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Richie Steamboat, some of these guys who are pretty much getting ready, practically at the finish line, ready to leave FCW. Maybe this could put them in a better spot, like on the Raw show. I don't know. So that's probably the only positive thing I can see coming out of this for Raw being 3 hours. Now on to the negatives, which once again, because if you compare it to the one positive thing I said that I could get out of the 3 hour Raw, it's insignificant. It's the negatives are greater than the positives. With the negative things I can say about this, I'm not sure this is going to be a good idea. I can handle 3 hours. Some people probably can't handle 3 hour Raw, but to me, there's no other show I watch on Monday nights but Raw. Even after when Raw goes off at 10 o'clock, after 2 hours, there's still nothing on television that I watch. I'll play a video game or something. So for me, 3 hours I can deal with. That's fine. Sometimes it can be a drag, but only if it's not entertaining. The reason I'm concerned about Raw going for 3 hours is because if you remember the last 3 hour Raw we had, which was, I think, before Extreme Rules last month, I think it was a 3 hour Raw they had, wasn't that great. Then the last 3 hour Raw I think we had before that was the Raw Gets Rocked, the 3 hour special. That was before the last Raw, before Survivor Series last year. To me, that was a crappy 3 hour Raw as well. So, if you look at our last two recent 3 hour Raw specials we've had, they suck. So to have this going on permanently, makes me very, very, very leery. Very. I mean, if they can crap up a 2-hour show, my God, a 3-hour show, really? Another thing I kind of a bit leery and afraid about being a 3-hour Raw is that they're going to air nothing but freaking promos. Promos for the up-and-coming pay-per-view, and I mean constantly. Continue to shoot nothing but replays of what happened earlier during the night of Raw, so that people who might tune in catch up. I'm afraid of that, and WWE does that a lot with their 3-hour specials. A lot of the extra hour is pretty much 1 hour by itself in a 3-hour special is plugged with nothing but constant instant replays of what already happened earlier during the night on the Raw show, and what happened last week, replays of what happened last week on the Raw, and nothing but commercials and promotions for the following pay-per-view that's coming up. So that's another bad thing as well. I hate when WWE does instant replays. I hate it when they plug like 20 instant replays within the 2-hour Raw. Why the hell would I want to deal with it during a 3-hour Raw? Literally. It's just freaking ridiculous with the replays. And I'm afraid that's what they're constantly going to do. Just to feel the extra hour every week. Another thing I'm also kind of just leery about too is, WWE's writers aren't that, in this generation at least, aren't that great. And this goes back to what I said about, the last 2 recent 3-hour Raw specials we had, how they sucked. If these guys can't book a decent to good 2-hour show, my God, they're going to be rattling their brains to figure out a way how can they fill the extra hour. I don't know. I mean, so like I said, the only positive thing I can look at this 3-hour Raw is maybe it'll give some guys, longer matches. Maybe this could be a reason for them bringing up some new guys and some new guys filling some spots for that 3 hours. I don't know. It's probably the only positive thing I can say. The negatives far outweigh the positives. I'm afraid that they're going to do nothing but constant replays to fill the extra hour and do nothing but constant promos to for the pay-per-views and pay-per-views that are coming up and all that other stuff. So let me know what you guys think about Raw being for 3 hours. Leave your thoughts and comments on the box below. What are your opinions on it? I'd love to know. Do a response video. I'd watch it. Leave your thoughts in the box below. Subscribe. Peace.